All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're taking a deep dive into San Francisco politics.
Ooh, local government. This should be good.
You better believe it. We've got a stack of meeting minutes from the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, February 6th, 13th, and 27th, to be precise.
Now, meeting minutes, those don't exactly scream edge-of-your-seat excitement.
Yeah, I hear you. They don't exactly sound like a page-turner, but trust me, these minutes are a goldmine.
Oh,
We're talking about the official decisions that affect everything in San Francisco, from like your morning commute to, that park you walk your dog in. We're talking laws, budgets, you name it. These minutes have got it all.
so like a behind-the-scenes look at how the city actually functions.
Exactly. And you might be surprised at what we found buried in all that bureaucratic jargon.
Oh, I bet. Lay it on me. What kind of juicy tidbits did you uncover?
Well, first things first, all 11 supervisors were there. Chan, Dorsey, Ingardio, the whole gang.
So every single decision they made in these meetings has ripple effects throughout the entire city.
You got it. Every single one. So let's jump right into the first meeting from February 6th, shall we? Right off the bat, we dove into a sea of committees.
Committees. Let me guess. Supervisors love their committees.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's where a lot of the initial debate and discussion goes down before it hits the full board. But then things took an interesting turn. We came across this grant for over $1 million.
$1 million, that's no small change. Who got that hefty sum?
The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
Interesting. What was it for?
And this is where it gets intriguing. Overdose prevention.
Now, that seems a little odd. Why is the medical examiner involved in preventing overdoses? That's not usually in their wheelhouse, is it?
Exactly. And that's what caught our attention.
So what's the connection?
Well, the medical examiner investigates suspicious deaths, right? And unfortunately, that includes overdoses, which sadly are a growing problem in San Francisco.
Ah, I see. So this funding likely supports their investigations into these tragic cases, shedding light on the severity of the opioid crisis in the city.
Precisely. It's a stark reminder that behind all these, seemingly boring meeting minutes, there are real-life issues affecting real people.
Absolutely. It gives you a new perspective, doesn't it? But $1 million for the medical examiner, that makes you wonder what else is going on with the city's budget.
Well, about that. Prepare to be amazed. We stumbled upon this little line item about the appropriation reserve.
Appropriation reserve. Sounds ominous.
It gets better. This line item casually mentions a whopping $48 million.
Whoa, hold on. $48 million? That's like finding a winning lottery ticket tucked away in a drawer. What's the deal with that?
Right. It's like they found a secret stash of cash and are trying to quietly slip it into the budget.
Now, I'm no expert, but $48 million doesn't just appear out of thin air. There's got to be a story there.
Oh, there definitely is. But we're going to dive into that rabbit hole right after a quick break. Stay tuned. All right, so we're back and diving headfirst into the February 13th meeting. You'd think approving the previous meeting's minutes would be a total snooze fest.
You'd think so, right? A quick formality.
Exactly. But oh boy, things got a little spicy.
Oh, do tell. I love a little drama in my local government. What happened?
So Supervisor Walton's trying to wrap things up, get those minutes approved, and bam, someone drops a bomb.
A bomb. What kind of bomb are we talking about here?
Well, it turns out Supervisors Peskin and D. Walton have to recuse themselves from a vote.
Whoa, hold on. Both of them. That's pretty unusual, isn't it? There must be something big going on to warrant a double recusal.
Right. You know something's up when not one but two supervisors have to step aside. And get this, the minutes mention it has something to do with Amazon.
Amazon. Now that's interesting. San Francisco and big tech companies, there's always a story there.
No kidding. But unfortunately, the minutes are pretty vague. They don't go into detail about what this whole Amazon thing is about, just that it's significant enough for both Peskin and D. Walton to sit this one out.
Classic government secrecy. Leaves you wondering what they're not telling us, doesn't it?
Totally. It's like a little political thriller with a cliffhanger ending.
Good.
But let's shift gears for a sec and talk safety. Specifically, those electric scooters zipping around the city.
Ah, yes. San Francisco and its love affair with e-scooters. They're everywhere these days.
Tell me about it. But it turns out all those e-scooters and e-bikes, with their lithium-ion batteries, have caught the fire department's attention.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Are those batteries a fire hazard or something?
You guessed it. It seems there have been some concerns about these batteries overheating and, in some cases, even causing fires.
Yikes. That's a bit worrying, especially with so many scooters whizzing around those crowded streets.
Exactly. And the fire department isn't taking any chances. The minutes mention a new ordinance they're considering to regulate the use, charging, and storage of these batteries.
Makes sense. They've got to stay on top of things like that. Safety first, right?
Absolutely. But hey, let's take a break from all this drama and talk about something a little more heartwarming.
Oh, I love a good heartwarming story. What did you find?
Well, amidst all the budget talks and policy debates, we stumbled upon this little gem. A Tenderloin Alley is getting renamed Veterans Alley.
Veterans Alley. I like the sound of that already. What's the story behind it?
It's actually a tribute to a community mural project. A small gesture, maybe, but it really highlights the Tenderloin, which, let's be honest, often gets overlooked.
It's true. The Tenderloin has its share of challenges, but it's also a neighborhood with a rich history and a strong sense of community.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this renaming could be a catalyst for positive change in the area.
I'd love to see that. It's a good reminder that even small acts of recognition can have a big impact.
All right, last but not least, we're diving into the February 27th meeting. And you guessed it, there's no shortage of drama.
What is it with San Francisco and its never-ending saga of drama? This time, what's on the agenda?
Well, this meeting throws us right into the middle of a legal battle. Big surprise there, right?
Hey, big city, lots of lawsuits, I get it. What kind of legal hot water are we talking about this time?
This time it's a $9 million settlement.
$9
million.
$9
million. Whoa, that's going to leave a mark on the city's checkbook. Who's getting that hefty payout?
Someone named Mason Masuda.
Mason Masuda. That name doesn't ring any bells. What happened? What's the story there? And here's the frustrating part the minutes don't say. They just mention the settlement amount and the name, leaving us completely in the dark about the details.
Typical, always leaving us hanging with the juicy stuff. Makes you wonder what really went down.
Right. Like, is this a common thing? Does the city just shell out millions like it's nothing? It definitely raises more questions than answers.
For sure. But hey, maybe it's a good thing they don't put all the nitty-gritty details in the meeting minutes. Can you imagine the lawsuits that would cause?
Huh. Good point. All right, let's move on to something a little less mysterious, shall we? This time, it's about San Francisco's crown jewels. Those gorgeous historic districts with their Victorian houses and million-dollar views.
Ah, yes. Those neighborhoods are practically a national treasure. But they also come with their fair share of challenges, don't they?
Exactly. And those challenges are front and center in this meeting.
Yeah.
Seems like Supervisor Peskin's trying to shake things up a bit by changing the building rules in some of these historic districts.
Oh, I bet that went over well. Change isn't exactly everyone's cup of tea, especially when it comes to those historic neighborhoods. What's causing all the fuss?
Well, it all boils down to density, or lack thereof. See, those historic neighborhoods have super strict zoning regulations, like limits on how tall buildings can be, how many units are allowed, the works.
Right, got to preserve that historic charm and all. But that also puts a strain on the city's already insane housing market.
Exactly. So Peskin's proposing changes that would allow for more density, meaning taller buildings, more units. Got to make room for everyone who wants a piece of the San Francisco pie.
Ugh, the classic San Francisco dilemma. Preserving history versus making room for the future. It's a tough balancing act, that's for sure.
You got that right. And speaking of balancing acts, let's not forget about the person who holds the city's purse strings, the controller.
The controller? That doesn't sound nearly as glamorous as lawsuits in historic neighborhoods.
I know, right? The controller's office doesn't usually make headlines, but trust me, this is a big deal. Think of the controller as, like, the city's chief financial officer.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more about this mysterious controller. Why should we care about them?
They're the ones managing San Francisco's multi-billion-dollar budget, making sure your tax dollars are being spent wisely, keeping the city's finances from going completely off the rails. And guess what?
Don't tell me the controller is resigning.
Bingo. These meeting minutes include a farewell to the retiring controller, Ben Rosenfield.
Wow, so it's the end of an era and the start of a new one, with a whole new person at the helm of the city's finances. Who knows what changes they'll bring?
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the sometimes thrilling, sometimes confusing, but always fascinating world of San Francisco politics, all through the lens of some seemingly ordinary meeting minutes.
We've waded through budget mysteries, legal battles, housing dilemmas, and even a little touch of heartwarming community spirit.
And the best part is, we've only just scratched the surface. There's a whole lot more where that came from.
So, to all our listeners out there, remember, local government might seem a little dry at times, but it affects our everyday lives, sometimes in the smallest ways.
So, take a peek at your own city's meeting minutes. You never know what you might uncover. Until next time, keep asking questions and stay curious.